Welcome back to Sunrise Daily. Well, now we turn our attention to what we see making the rounds everywhere. The nominations, I beg your pardon, the appointments are coming in now, and so let's find out what the thinking is. Mr. Ikechukwu Kechi joins us this morning. Morning, and thank you for joining us today. Well, you know, many had looked forward to more appointments and see how they could drive policies of government such that people can then key in and know where we are headed. Well, so far, some appointments have since made the rounds yesterday. Having done this now, yes, go ahead.
Yes, thank you so much for having me, Chamberlain. Yes, it's a difficult situation presently with regards to the present deal of appointments. The reactions are coming in torrents, but we have to be circumspect. We have to accept the fact that the president knows what he is doing. But with that at the back of our minds, we must ask questions as to the reality, the practicability, the propriety or otherwise of making appointments that are anything but inclusive, that do not take into consideration the diversity, the heterogeneity, and the collective interests of the different facets of Nigeria, as it were.
Well, how is this going to affect the policies that the government says they want to drive and ensure that at the end of the day, infrastructure is properly developed, institutions are strengthened, and things go on well?
Yes, you see, there's no doubt that it will affect policies, because the essence of inclusive government, if you like, inclusive development, is citizen participation. And citizen participation may be in terms of citizen representation and policy inputs from citizens. And that said, there has to be a realization that citizenship, as far as Nigeria is concerned, is not restricted to particular sections or a particular section of the country. Nigeria sits on different legs, or not on one or two legs, and as such, if you are talking about infrastructural development, if you are talking about good governance, you cannot discuss it outside of inclusive governance, inclusive government, inclusive development, and inclusive growth, which have their denominators as citizen participation, both in government and in terms of representation and in policy.
Well, you know, they came in based on a lot of premise, expectation out there, which they are also very much aware. And you alluded to the fact that, yes, they know what they're doing. But at the end of the day, if they are focused on achieving those results, don't you think they also know that, look, if they don't get it right, it will cost them, and as such, those decisions they take will be the ones they think will drive or best drive their policies?
Oh yes, I think as a human being, and we have to give it to the president that he's intelligent enough to know what he's doing. But that does not derogate from the fact that certain elements of his actions can be scrutinized and put to some empirical tests as to whether they comply both morally and legally with the realities of the environment that he leads. And that environment is Nigeria. It is not for nothing that we have a provision as Section 14, subsection 3 of the 1999 Constitution as amended, howbeit that it is under Chapter 2 of the same Constitution that makes that is non-justiciability, that is non-justiciable. Even at that, the president has to avert his mind to that section, Section 14, subsection 3, in spite of its non-justiciability, because the framers of our Constitution had certain things, certain intentions at the back of their mind in putting forward some of these provisions. And some of these provisions reflect both the intent, the spirit, and the letter of the Constitution, which is our ground norm. You even where you look at the letter of the Constitution, as in Section 6, subsection 6, C, that says that Chapter 2 is non-justiciable. The spirit of the Constitution itself, I always say, that is the moral basis of the Constitution itself, would tell you that you have to reflect federal character in your appointments. And if you say, well, we still have time to so reflect, so be it. That is why I think that probably the president knows what he's doing. As we go on, we expect that the president would reflect this federal character principle that is inside of our Constitution in his appointments. Yes, you don't have a right of audience in the court of law with regards to these appointments, but as we can glean from the contents of the Constitution, you can say that his actions so far have fallen short of the provisions of the Constitution and may simply or easily be said to be unconstitutional.
If you look at it, what's happening now, a whole lot of complaint happening, making the rounds, and the way you have highlighted it, it would seem as if the earlier, the better for people to lay their complaint. Do you think that this explains the understanding of the president about the diversity of the country?
I think it explains, for now, the fact that the president may just not have been taking into consideration the diversity, the heterogeneity of Nigeria as a country, as a federal state, as it were. Even if he does, he may not yet have reflected it in his appointments. And the sooner he does that, the better. Citizen participation, citizen engagement is very key to good governance. And you can only speak about what you see. What I mean by that, I mean perception. What we have out there in the public domain is appointments that reflect lopsidedness. And no matter how good an intention is, whenever it comes out and brings out a different perception from probably if the intention is good, it comes out to give a different perception, different from good. It has to get people worried, and that is what is happening presently.